Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock. It's a Friday. It's time for another video. And today I'm going to be doing a video on stuff within the magic community that I wish would disappear forever. Now, over here in the UK, we have something called a TV show called Room 101. If you've never heard of it before, the idea is that celebrities come onto Room 101 and they talk about and have to justify why certain things in the world would get placed into Room 101. And if they go into Room 101, it means they disappear. Nobody ever sees them ever again. It's like it ceases to exist. It's kind of an interesting TV show. And more than once, celebrities have gone on and said, you know, I'd put magicians into Room 101. But it's an interesting concept, especially if you apply it to the magic community. So if there really was this mythical Room 101, is there anything inside magic, within the magic community or the magic industry, that you would take and put immediately into Room 101 so it never existed ever? And I sat down and I thought about it, and I thought, well, you know what? There's actually quite a lot of things that I would put into Room 101. So on this list, I'm going to talk about 5 things that I think would make my Room 101 list. 5 things that I think should definitely go into Room 101. Now, to be honest, I came up with more than 5, but I'm keeping this to 5. If you like it and you want to see another 5, I will do a follow-up video on this at some point in the future. But for now, this is my 2023 list. 5 things that I think should go into Room 101, and they never existed ever within the magic community. Now, I feel I have to preface this by saying this is only my opinion. It doesn't mean that I'm right. I believe I'm right, but if you've got a differing opinion to me, that's fine. Don't feel insulted because I want to completely wipe off the face of the planet something that you like. I'm cool with that, okay? That's fine. It's the wonderful thing about this community, about any community, is people can have differing opinions. I just feel I need to preface this video with that. So the first thing that I'm going to say, the first thing that needs to go into Room 101 immediately is, I've kind of written it down on my list as social ineptitude, but what it basically is are people that are paid to perform, that go to gigs. I'm talking specifically about close-up magicians now. Close-up magicians that go to gigs and they are being paid to be there, and they just are not equipped to be able to do that booking. They just don't, they can't do it. Look, I'm all for people leveling up. I talk on this channel about how you can level up, how you can go from being an amateur to a hobbyist, to a semi-professional, how to go from a semi-professional to a professional magician. I love that. But here's the thing, within this, there's a lot of people out there, lay people, that don't like magic. And normally when you sit down with them and you ask them why, it's because they've seen a bad magician or they've had a bad experience of watching a magician. And it's so weird, but that's something that happens all of the time. You don't watch a singer and go, well, I hate music because I saw a really bad singer. You just assume that person was a bad singer. You have a bad experience of a magician and then that's it, you're done, right? And I've gone to gigs, or I've been invited to an event and I'm a guest and there's been a magician there. And I've seen more than once, several times, magicians that are at this gig that really should not in any way, shape or form be there. And I'll give you a few examples of exactly what I mean. So I remember going to a gig once and there was a guy that came over. Wasn't particularly entertaining, but his whole idea is, hey, I'm a magician, I'm going to show you some magic. This was in a restaurant many, many years ago, and he literally just put 5 gimmick decks on the table. He went, right, for my first trick. He opened the deck, did what the trick did, put the deck away, put it to one side. He then opened the second deck, did the same thing. Boom, second one, put it away. And he was just going to, and it was just obvious to anybody that was watching that he just had these trick decks that he was just going through one by one. That's an example of somebody who's not ready to be performing in a paid environment. Yeah, go and work for free somewhere. Go and rehearse by performing to real people. Go and perform at your magic club. Do what you need to do. But when you go out and you take that booking, you need to be ready to go out and rock it. Give you another example. I've been to gigs in the past where I've talked about this on the channel before, banquet situations where there's like big tables of 10. Now, if you've never done banquet before, it can be a tricky situation. You need to go in prepared because they're big tables. You've got to project. You've got to grab the whole table. And I've seen people go up and they're kind of like, They can't string two sentences together. They're obviously technically very advanced, but they don't know how to vocally project. They don't know how to grab the attention of the people they're performing for. So they go up to a table and they're like, hi. And people start looking, and then they start performing to one person to the side of them. Everybody else switches off. It's just embarrassing, and it's a complete waste of the client's money having somebody like that there. I've seen people that can't string two sentences together. They think that the way to perform in a gigging situation is by being the love child of Dynamo and David Blaine. So they walk up and they go, hey, pick a card. Is this your card? And it's kind of just comes across as rude. I get that style works for one person, but stop trying to emulate it and learn how to present. All examples. I've seen people go on Facebook groups and they talk about how, hey, I've got a gig tomorrow and, I need to know what I should do. Well, here's what you should do, dude. What you should do is you should go and give that gig to somebody else because you're obviously not ready to do it. If you're going onto a Facebook group and you're wanting information on how to do a gig tomorrow or next week, maybe don't take the gig, because if the client has booked you and they have offered to pay you money, and you have accepted that, you owe it to that client to do the best job that you can possibly do. You should not be going onto a Facebook group a day or 2 days before saying, hey, what am I going to do? And Ryland a little while ago posted in Magicians Only, without my knowledge, asking about this sort of thing. And, my attitude is very simple. You need to make sure that when you go to the gig, you are ready for that gig. Now, obviously, we have to push ourselves out of our comfort zone. 100%. We have to push ourselves out of a comfort zone. The first time you go into any situation, it's going to be scary. The first time I went and did a kids gig on my own, I literally was ready to cack my pants. Like, I was so scared. First time I ever went and did a stage show, same. First time I did an illusion show, same. That happens over and over again. I get that, but I was prepared. I knew what I was going to do. I knew what I was going to say. I knew how I was going to say it. I knew the theory behind everything. I wasn't going in there and winging it. And unfortunately, there's a lot of magicians out there that really make magic look bad because they're not prepared for the situation that they have put themselves into by accepting that booking. If you're a closet magician and you get offered a kids gig and it's next week and you say yes, if you go onto a Facebook group going, I've got a client that's booked me for a kids gig next week, do you think Ambitious Card will work? Honestly, you need a slap. It's as simple as that, because that kid is going to have a terrible birthday party because you can't be asked to learn how to organise or perform at a kid's birthday party. It works in every single facet of magic. But if you are going to take a booking and if you are going to a gig, make sure that you know everything that you need to know to give yourself the best possible chance of succeeding at that event. Okay, so the second thing that I'm going to put in room 101 are bad magic downloads. Look, I've spoken about this on the podcast with Pigcake and Lloyd recently. It's very, very simple. There's bad tricks. There are bad tricks that come out. But the problem is, one man's trash is another man's treasure. There's stuff that I've seen that I've thought is the worst trick of all time. I've absolutely hated it. And I've met other people that go out and perform it and they love it. So, that's why when I review stuff, I say it's only my opinion, doesn't make it right. But there is such thing as bad magic downloads. And part of the problem is how accessible it is to release a download now. You don't have to go through a production company. You don't have to go through anything like that. You can literally just go into your bedroom. You can film something and you can put it up online and you can sell it for whatever the hell you want to. If you get accepted onto something like the Penguin Partner Program, it's carte blanche at that point for you to release any brain fart that you've ever had from time began. And I've spoken about this before with Scott Alexander. I'm convinced that there are people out there that wake up in the morning with an idea. They do no research about it. They don't try it out to see if it works. They film a tutorial for it in the afternoon. And by tea time, it's up on the site and they're charging money for it, because that's just the way it is. There's so many bad magic downloads, and it's terrible for magic for so many different reasons. It's bad for the industry as a whole. There's people that might buy that think it's a good trick because they're very inexperienced, and they go and perform it, and it's not. You're ripping people off that could be spending their money on something much better, and instead they're spending the money on this woeful ineptitude piece of rubbish that you've decided to put up online. There's no policing of these magic downloads, and it's such a shame, because honestly, I've seen there's a guy on Penguin. I've reviewed some of his stuff. I can't remember his name on the Penguin Partner Program, Stefano or something like that. He's released about 45,000 versions of ACAN. Each one of them is like a shot in vertical video, and it's like a 90-second tutorial. That's it. The trailer is longer than the tutorial, and it's generally him sitting in his kitchen at a kitchen table, and he's just showing you this generic version of ACAN that he says is the best ACAN of all time. And because he's got a trailer on it that looks kind of fooling, and because he's written the ad copy in a particular way, people go on there and they spend money on this piece of crap that's just absolutely dreadful. And he's charging like $15, $20 for this thing that's just awful, and you get it, and it's a 90-second tutorial. You could take that money and you could buy a 2-month subscription to Christian Grace's Magic Monthly for that money. Like, seriously, I can't understand all of these people that are ripping all of these creators. And I use the term creator in the loosest possible sense, because they are not creators. They are basically thieves as far as I'm concerned. These people, they have figured out that they can just put any old crap online, nobody checks it, a few people will buy it, it'll make them a few quid, and then they'll put something else on, and they'll put something else on, and they'll put something else on. It's embarrassing to the magic community, and I really wish the way that this industry is structured, so that anybody can put out downloads without any check at all, without any comeback on them. Anyone can put out these downloads, which are just truly terrible, and generally, as a rule, not even original, and the instructions are just woeful, and you can't even follow what's going on in them. That if I could put anything in Room 101, it would be this influx of crap that happens with downloads. I would get rid of it, and I'd make it harder for somebody to release a product. I would have somebody in charge of checking each individual thing and going, you know what? I need to say that's not acceptable. That's not something that we should have on our platform, because honestly, it's just bad. Okay, so this is the one that I think is going to split the room, but it's only my opinion, remember. Old school magic attire. I really, really hate it. I really do. I just think it's holding magic back in the 1970s. Whenever I see somebody walk out in a spangly tuxedo and a playing card tie, I literally want to take a shovel and beat myself around the head with it until I fall into sweet unconsciousness. And I am not joking. Like, we've moved on. The industry has moved on. The way that we present magic has moved on. The days of top hat and tails are gone. The days of spangly jackets have gone. The days of sequins and that sort of stuff has gone. It really has. I run an entertainment company, a couple of them, as you know, and we had a client complain the other day. Even though our website shows exactly what we dress in when we go to gigs, we had somebody ring up and complain and say, hey, yeah, the event was really good. The entertainer was great for their birthday party, their kid's birthday party. The entertainer was really good. We want to make a complaint because they didn't look like a magician. They were in sort of trousers and a t-shirt, and we expected a tuxedo and a top hat because that's how magicians dress. No, that is not how magicians dress. And every single time somebody goes out wearing that sort of stuff, it just sets magic back another 100 years. It really does. Like, read the room. When you take a booking, if you're turning up dressed as a throwback from the 1970s, if you really are, then please stop and seriously think about what everybody else in that room is wearing. They are not going to be wearing a spangly sequined leopard skin tuxedo with a top hat big enough to hide 15 rabbits. They're not. It's just not going to happen. And honestly, if I see another magician with a playing card tie, like, why? We get it. You're a magician. Why have a playing card on your tie? Why do it? I don't see an accountant wearing ties with little dollar signs on it. I don't see a plumber wearing a ties with sink plungers on it or something like that. I don't see dancers with ties with like silhouettes of dancers. I just don't see that. So why do we always insist on wearing playing card ties? Why do we do that? And while we're at it, if you're going to a magic convention and you're a kids entertainer and you've got like a clown outfit that you wear, that's cool, that's great, that's fine, that's part of your brand. I've got no problem with that. But why do you feel the need to wear it in an actual magic convention? When you're walking around, we're all normal people. You know, 99.99% of people are walking around in jeans and a t-shirt or dressed up as if you're cosplaying as a lumberjack. But why, for the love of God, would you walk around looking like Bozo the Clown and Mr. Tumble had some weird love child and that's you? Like, why would you do that? Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Please, for the love of all that's holy, don't do it. Okay, so the fourth thing that I'm going to be putting in room 101, gone forever, never to be seen again, is short form exposure videos. I'm not talking about long form. I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm not talking about YouTube. I've made my feelings perfectly clear on this subject numerous times, especially if you listen to the Magic Podcast. I have talked about this in great detail. I have no problem with long form videos on YouTube, and anybody that does have a problem doesn't understand how YouTube works and how the algorithm on YouTube works. Because in order for people to regularly see review shows, magic review shows, in order for people to regularly see the sort of videos that Lloyd Barnes and Javier Fuenmayor put out, if anybody is regularly seeing videos like that, it's because they are searching for magic tutorials. Tons of magicians have got into magic by watching videos on YouTube, teaching them tricks. They then come into the industry, and that's good for the industry, because when new people come into the industry, more people are buying tricks, which is good for the magic shops. It's good for the magic wholesalers. It's good for the creators. More people create magic. It's more fun. It's more exciting. More people go to conventions. There's more lecturers. Everything works really, really well. And I know that there's pros out there that became pros by learning about magic on YouTube. You know, people say, oh, you know, I wouldn't ever condone a YouTube video with exposure because people can search for secrets. Honestly, if somebody is finding a 30-minute video and they're searching for the secret to a trick and they find that 30-minute video, and they do find that 30-minute video and they watch it all the way through, they deserve to have that information because they've done the research. They've sat there, they've invested time in learning how that thing works, whatever it may be. And I've got no problem with that whatsoever. You know, for people like Jacob Jr. who say, oh, magic review shows should be stopped because there's too much exposure. You know, recently I talked about this on the channel. Jacob Jr. Talked about my review of the table that he was a part of that came out through TCC, and he said, hey, Craig was too exposy. Frankly, anybody who thinks that way doesn't know what they're talking about. Because if somebody searches for coin through toy table, how is it done, or something like that, there is no way they're going to find my review show. There is absolutely no way in God's green earth that they're going to find my review show. It's just impossible. That's not how their algorithm works. And if you think that's the case, you are, frankly, an idiot. There's no way that they can find that review show. But let's just say, somehow, by some freaking miracle, that does happen. And they do find my my review. And they do find it. Are you telling me that somebody that's looking just for the secret of the coin through table, the TC coin through table, do you really think they're going to watch a 45-minute review show to find out that secret? And even if they do, which they're not, and if they do, great, we've got somebody who wants to learn magic. But if they do, which they're not, but if they do, and they get to the review show and I say, oh yeah, it's like a slot box built into a table. They're not going to have a freaking clue what that means. They aren't going to have a clue. They're not going to know what that means. And if I say, yeah, you're going to need to do some lapping in the final phase, they're not going to have a clue what that means. And as for people saying, oh, and he's exposing in his performances, oh, stuff off. I have no problem with long-form exposure or tutorials. What I have an issue with is people that do short-term exposure videos, like TikTok. Because the thing with TikTok is, let's say you're scrolling through TikTok and you see Dan Rhodes doing a 20-second video where he's exposing something or other, a vanishing bottle or a cube shell or something or other, because he exposes stuff all the time. And you're just scrolling through and you see this video. At that point, they're not looking for that secret. It's just been shown to them. Now, I'm not stupid. I know that in about 2 or 3 weeks' time, that information that's just gone into their head is probably going to go out their head, and very few people are going to remember that secret. But some are. And why even take the risk? Why show people something that they don't need to see? And my issue with this is people that do exposure videos on TikTok and Reels and so on and so forth, they want more views. That's why they're doing it. They want more views. Ultimately, views will turn into money, blah, 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 blah. That's why everyone's doing it. I totally get that. I get that 100%. But there's other ways of doing it. There's other videos that you can do that will make you notorious. There just are. You just put the hard work in, and these short form exposure videos that the like of Dan Rhodes does and other people like him, they just make me sick, because it is laziness, which is weird because I know those people work really hard at creating the content. But maybe if they spent less time creating content and more time thinking about the content of their videos, so they could structure videos that didn't have exposure in them, where it's literally just simply a case of, here's a trick, this is how it's done in 20 seconds, then perhaps we'd be in a better place. Okay, in the final video that we're going to talk about today, or the final thing that I'm going to put into Room 101, is elitism in the magic community. I hate it. 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 What do I mean by elitism? There's a million different examples. Somebody saying, hey, we shouldn't show YouTube video, we shouldn't do YouTube tutorials, is elitism. Who are we to say that that person can't get into magic through YouTube? Who are we? I guarantee you there's a kid out there somewhere that's finding magic right now through one of Lloyd Barnes' videos. And he's getting excited, and he's watching all of the videos, and off the back of that, he's watching all these other videos. He's getting super excited, and I guarantee that kid somewhere out there will either become a world champion, will become super famous as a magician, or will become a huge creator within this industry. And they have found it through through these YouTube videos. And these people that say, no, we should hold on to our secrets tightly and guard them, those are the people that are, it's elitism. It's as simple as that. Yeah, we should shut the doors. We should not make access to our secrets just very easily, but people should be able to walk through the door. We should have it unlocked. People should be able to walk through the door. And I'm sorry if you disagree with that, but that's my opinion. Elitism in magic happens all of the time. I've seen it when I go to magic conventions and I see a group of people sitting down and somebody walks over to them and they get sent away. We're meant to be a brotherhood. I saw it. I don't see it as much these days, but in the old days, I saw it a lot in the magic circle, where new people would come into the magic circle and they would be made to feel really bad, like, oh, don't want you here. Now, I don't see that these days. Since the magic circle has evolved and improved, I don't see that at all in the times that I've been to the magic circle. But in the old days, it happened. And I know it happens at conventions, and I know it happens at other magic clubs. This elitism, it drives me up the wall, and it happens at every level. Illusionists look down at stage performers. Stage performers look down at close-up magicians. Close-up magicians look down at kids entertainers. Kids entertainers look down at clowns. Clowns look down at mime artists. Mime artists are mime artists. The point I'm trying to say is that there's this whole elitist thing that's going on, and we should be a brotherhood. We really should. We should embrace and really want to try and help everybody. And the elitist attitudes that I see within this industry drive me up the wall. You see it's rife on the Magic Cafe. It's rife in Facebook groups. The Magic Cafe is a perfect example of somebody who will post a seemingly innocent question and get jumped on by 50 other people. It's the same in magic communities. It's the same in Facebook groups. You know, people come in, new people come in all the time, and they're nervous. They're opening the door to this world, and they realize how expansive it is. They realize the scale and the grandeur of it. And it really is, when you first come into magic for the first time, you don't realize just how expansive it is. And it can be overwhelming for somebody. And they walk in and they know absolutely nothing, and they make a seemingly innocent post on a Facebook group and they get smashed. They get knocked down to size, and it happens over and over again. I've seen people leave magic because they have been picked on because they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And if people were more helpful and gave advice, and magicians helping magicians, then perhaps we'd have less dick measuring contests, and we'd have more people out there that are actually wanting to help. Because if new people come into magic, that's going to make magic a much better place. So yes, elitism, I would absolutely put that into room 101. So you go, guys, that's another video in the bag. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I want to know. What would you put into room 101? Do you agree with my points? Is there something else that you'd put in there? I want to know. Would you like to see another room 101? If you would, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. And don't forget, the Netrix is now open for business. www.thenetrix.com. We've got access to the Discord server in the Netrix, which will give you access to absolutely everything. And it's super exciting, and Chris James is doing an amazing job. So go check all that out, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.